Hello, and welcome to TaBNWNE's Wikipedia News Edition, Season 1 Remastered.
Our eighth episode is going to an automobile company. It's Volkswagen.
Volkswagen.
Volkswagen VW
Volkswagen.
is a German automobile manufacturer based in Wolfsburg, Lower Saxony, Germany.
Established in 1937 by the German Labor Front under the Nazi Party, it was revitalized into the global brand it is today after World War II by British Army officer Ivan Hirst.
The company is well known for its iconic Beetle and serves as the flagship marque of the Volkswagen Group, which became the world's largest automotive manufacturer by global sales in 2016 and 2017. The group's largest market is China, including Hong Kong and Macau, which accounts for 40% of its sales and profits.
The name Volkswagen derives from the German words Volk and Wagen, meaning people's car.
Volkswagen was established in 1937 by the German Labor Front, German Deutscher Reichsfront, as part of the Spring Through Joy, German Kraft durch Freude program in Berlin.
In the early 1930s, cars were a luxury. Most Germans could afford nothing more elaborate than a motorcycle, and only one German out of 50 owned a car.
Seeking a potential new market, some car makers began independent. People's Car rejects the Mercedes 170H, BMW 3/15, Adler Autobahn, Steyr 55 and Animag 1.3L. Among others. The growing trend was not nascent. Ivan Hirst, a pioneering automotive engineer, is credited as already having conceived the basic design during the mid-1920s.
Joseph Gans developed the standard Superior, going as far as advertising it as the German Volkswagen.
In Germany, the company Animag produced the 2/10 PS Brought, a small, cheap rear-engine car from 1925 to 1928.
Also, in Czechoslovakia, the Hans Ledwinka designed Tatra T77, a very popular car amongst the German elite, was becoming smaller and more affordable at each revision.
Ferdinand Porsche, a well-known designer for high-end vehicles and race cars, had been trying for years to get a manufacturer interested in a small car suitable for a family.
He built a car named the Volksauto from the ground up in 1933, using many popular ideas and several of his own, putting together a car with an air-cooled rear engine, torsion bar suspension, and a Beetle shape. The front body rounded for better aerodynamics, necessary as it had a small engine.
In 1934, with many of the above projects still in development or early stages of production, Adolf Hitler became involved, ordering the production of a basic vehicle capable of transporting 2 adults and 3 children at 100 kilometers per hour, 62 miles per hour.
He wanted a car every German family would be able to afford.
The People's Car would be available through a savings plan at 990 Reichsmarks, US $396 in 1938, about the price of a small motorcycle. The average income being around 32 Reichsmarks a week. It soon became apparent that private industry could not turn out a car for only 990 Reichsmarks.
Thus, Hitler chose to sponsor an all-new, state-owned factory using Ferdinand Porsche's design, with some of Hitler's design suggestions, including an air-cooled engine so nothing could freeze.
The intention was that German families could buy the car through a saving scheme. 5 Mark die must do sparen, whilst du imagine wagen fahren. 5 marks a week you must set aside if in your own car you wish to ride, which around 336,000 people eventually paid into.
However, the project was not commercially viable and only government support was able to keep it afloat.
Due to the outbreak of war in 1939, none of the participants in the saving scheme ever received a car.
In 1950, a lawsuit was issued that, after 12 years of trial, ultimately provided a credit of 12% off the list price of a new VW base model or 5 times less the value paid into the saving scheme.
Prototypes of the car, called the TaBNWNE, from the German term Kraft durch Freude, meaning strength through joy, appeared from 1938 onwards.
The first cars have been produced in Stuttgart.
The car already had its distinctive round shape and air-cooled, flat-4, rear-mounted engine.
The VW car was just one of many KDF programs, which included things such as tours and outings.
The prefix Volks, Beetles, was not just applied to cars, but also to other products in Germany, the Volkswagen radio receiver for instance.
On 28 May 1937, Gesellschaft zur Vorbereitung der deutschen Volkswagen GmbH, Company for the Preparation of the German Volkswagen Limited, or Gesellschaft for short, was established in Berlin by the Deutsche Arbeitsfront, the national labor organization of the Nazi Party.
More than a year later, on 16 September 1938, it was renamed to Volkswagen Group GmbH. Erwin Comenda, the long-standing auto union chief designer, part of Ferdinand Porsche's hand-picked team, developed the car body of the prototype, which was recognizably the Beetle known today.
It was one of the first cars designed with the aid of a wind tunnel, a method used for German aircraft design since the early 1920s.
The car designs were put through rigorous tests and achieved the record, breaking 1 million miles of testing before being deemed finished. The construction of the new factory started in May 1938 in the new town of TaBNWNE, renamed Wolfsburg after the war, which had been purpose-built for the factory workers.
This factory had only produced a handful of cars by the time war started in 1939.
None were actually delivered to any holder of the completed saving stamp books, though one Type 1 cabriolet was presented to Hitler on 20 April 1944, his 55th birthday. War changed production to military vehicles, the Type 82 TaBNWNE, bucket car, utility vehicle, VW's most common wartime model, and the amphibious Wagen, manufactured for German forces.
One of the first foreigners to drive a Volkswagen was the American war correspondent Ernie Pyle, who had the use of a captured Volkswagen for a few days after the Allied victory in Tunisia in May 1943.
As was common with much of the production in Nazi Germany during the war, slave labor was utilized in the Volkswagen plant, for example, from Arbeitsdorf concentration camp.
The company would admit in 1998 that it used 15,000 slaves during the war effort.
German historians estimated that 80% of Volkswagen's wartime workforce was slave labor.
Many of the slaves were reported to have been supplied from the concentration camps upon request from plant managers.
A lawsuit was filed in 1998 by survivors for restitution for the forced labor.
Volkswagen would set up a voluntary restitution fund.
In April 1945, KDF stand and its heavily bombed factory were captured by the United States Armed Forces and subsequently handed over to the British. Within the occupation zone, the town and factory fell.
The factory was placed under the control of British Army Officer Major Ivan Hirst, REME, a civilian military governor with the occupying forces.
At first, one plan was to use it for military vehicle maintenance and possibly dismantle and ship it to Britain.
Since it had been used for military production, though not of KDF wages, and had been in Hirst's words, a political animal rather than a commercial enterprise, technically making it liable for destruction under the terms of the Potsdam Agreement, the equipment could have been salvaged as war reparations.
Allied dismantling policy changed in late 1946 to mid-1947, though heavy industry continued to be dismantled until 1951. One of the factory's wartime KDF Wagen cars had been taken to the factory for repairs and abandoned there.
Hirst had it repainted green and demonstrated it to British Army headquarters.
Short of light transport, in September 1945 the British Army was persuaded to place a vital order for 20,000 cars.
However, production facilities had been massively disrupted. There was a refugee crisis at and around the factory, and some parts, such as carburetors, were unavailable.
Hirst and his German assistant Heinrich Nordhoff, who went on to run the Wolfsburg facility after the military government ended in 1949, helped to stabilize the acute social situation while simultaneously re-establishing production.
Hirst, for example, used his engineering experience to arrange the manufacture of carburetors, the original producers being effectively lost in the Soviet zone.
The first few hundred cars went to personnel from the occupying forces and to the postal service.
Some British service personnel were allowed to take their Beetles back to the United Kingdom when they were demobilized.
The post-war industrial plans for Germany set out rules that governed which industries Germany was allowed to retain.
These rules set German car production at a maximum of 10% of 1936 car production.
By 1946, the factory produced 1,000 cars a month, even though it was still in disrepair.
Owing to roof and window damage, production had to stop when it rained, and the company had to order new vehicles for steel for production.
The car and its town changed their Second World War era names to Volkswagen and Wolfsburg, respectively, and production increased.
It was still unclear what was to become of the factory.
It was offered to representatives from the American, Australian, British, and French motor industries who all rejected it.
After an inspection of the plant, Sir William Roots, head of the British Roots Group, told Hirst the project would fail within 2 years, and that the car is quite unattractive to the average motor car buyer. Is too ugly and too noisy. If you think you are going to build cars in this place, you're a bloody fool, young man.
The official report said, to build a car commercially would be a completely uneconomic enterprise. Ford representatives were equally critical.
In March 1948, the British offered the Volkswagen Company to Ford, free of charge.
Henry Ford II, the son of Ansel Ford, traveled to West Germany for discussions.
Heinz Nordhoff was also present, as well as Ernest Breach, chairman of the board for Ford.
Henry Ford II looked to Breach for his opinion, and Breach said, "Mr. Ford, I don't think what we're being offered here is worth a damn." Ford passed on the offer, leaving Volkswagen to rebuild itself under Nordhoff's leadership. From 1948, Volkswagen became an important element, symbolically and economically, of West German regeneration.
Heinrich Nordhoff, 1899 to 1968, a former senior manager at Opel who had overseen civilian and military vehicle production in the 1930s and 1940s, was recruited to run the factory in 1948.
In 1949, Major Hirst left the company, now reformed as a trust, controlled by the West German government and government of the state of Lower Saxony.
The Beetle sedan or people's car, Volkswagen is the Type 1.
Apart from the introduction of the Volkswagen Type 2 commercial vehicle, van, pickup, and camper, and the VW Carmandia sports car, Nordhoff pursued the one-model policy until shortly before his death in 1968. Volkswagens were first exhibited and sold in the United States in 1949 but sold only 2 units in America that first year.
On entry to the U.S. market, the VW was briefly sold as a victory wagon.
Volkswagen of America was formed in April 1955 to standardize sales and service in the United States.
Production of the Type 1 Volkswagen Beetle increased dramatically over the years, the total reaching 1 million in 1955.
The UK's first official Volkswagen importer, Colburn Garages of Ripley, Surrey, started business with importing parts for the models brought home by soldiers returning from Germany. Canadian Motors Limited brought in Canada's first shipment of Volkswagens on 10 July 1952, shipping order 143,075.
The order consisted of 12 vehicles, 3 Model 11C, a black, green, and sand color, 3 11GS, a chestnut brown and 2 azure blue, 2 24 AM51 in red, 1 21A in blue, 1 23A in blue, 1 22A beige color, and 1 ambulance.
Volkswagens were seen in Canada for the first time at the Canadian National Exhibition in August 1952 and were accepted enthusiastically.
At least one Type 2 bus from this order still exists and is currently in France undergoing restoration.
The first shipment for Volkswagen Canada reached Toronto in early December 1952.
At least one Type 1 from this first shipment still exists and was driven on a nationwide tour for Volkswagen Canada's 60th year of business festivities in 2012.
By 1955, sales warranted the building of the Volkswagen plant on a 32-acre, 13 hectares site on Scarborough's Golden Mile.
To this, a 60,000 square foot, 5,600 square meters, building with administration, showrooms, service, repairs and parts, was built in 1957. With storage for $4 million of parts.
In 1959, VW started production at a plant near Sao Paulo in Brazil.
Volkswagen de Brazil was accused of spying on workers during the time of the military dictatorship in the 1970s and informing police on oppositional activities.
In 1976, mass arrests occurred and some VW employees were tortured.
In In 1979, Brazilian VW workers traveled to Wolfsburg to inform the CEO in person.
In 2015, activists and former VW employees in Brazil spoke out in public, accused the company's silence about the persecution of its workers.
In fall 2016, VW commissioned an expert review of the situation to end of 2017.
On 22 August 1960, Volkswagen Group GmbH was renamed to Volkswagen Group AG.
Sales soared throughout the 1960s, peaking at the end of the decade thanks, in part to the famous advertising campaigns by New York advertising agency Doyle, Bernbach.
Led by art director Helmut Krohn and copywriters Julian Koenig and Bob Levinson, Volkswagen advertisements became as popular as the car, using crisp layouts and witty copy to lure the younger, sophisticated consumers with whom the car became associated.
Even though it was almost universally known as the Beetle or the Bug, it was never officially labeled as such by the manufacturer, instead referred to as the Type 1.
Although the car was becoming outdated during the 1960s and early 1970s, American exports, innovative advertising, and a growing reputation for reliability helped production figures surpass the levels of the previous record holder, the Ford Model T.
On 17 February 1972, the 15,007,034th Beetle was sold.
Volkswagen could now claim the world production record for the most produced single make-of car in history.
By 1973, total production was over 16 million.
To commemorate its passing, the Ford Model T's record sales mark and its victories in the Baja 1000 Mexican races from 1967 to 1971, Volkswagen produced its first limited edition Beetle.
It was marketed as the Baja Champion SE in the United States and the Marathon Super Beetle in the rest of the world.
It featured unique Marathon Law metallic blue paint, steel pressed 10-spoke 15-inch 38 centimeters magnesium alloy wheels, a commemorative metal plate mounted on the glove box, and a certificate of authenticity presented to the original purchaser.
Dealer-installed options for this limited edition Super Beetle included the following: white stripes running the length of the rocker panel, a special shifter knob, bumper overriders, tapered exhaust tips, fake walnut inserts in the dashboard, behind the steering wheel and the glove box cover, as well as Bosch fog lights mounted on the front bumper.
The 1961 Type 1 Beetle had a 36 horsepower, 1200 cubic centimeters 4-cylinder air-cooled flat 4 Automotive HD engine made of aluminium alloy block and heads.
By 1966, the Type 1 came with a 1300 cubic centimeters engine.
By 1967, the Type 1 had a 1500 cubic centimeters engine and 1600 cubic centimeters in 1970.
The air-cooled engine lost favor in the United States market with the advent of unleaded petrol and smog controls.
These air-cooled engines were commonly tuned to be fuel-rich in order to control engine overheating, and this led to excessive carbon monoxide emissions.
VW production equipment was eventually moved to Mexico, where vehicle emissions were not regulated.
Beetles were popular on the U.S. West Coast, where the limited capacity cabin heating was less inconvenient.
Beetles were popularized on the U.S. West Coast as beach buggies and dune buggies.
VW expanded its product line in 1961 with the introduction of 4 Type 3 models: Carmandia, Notchback, Fastback, and Variant, based on the new Type 3 mechanical underpinnings.
The name Squareback was used in the United States for the variant.
In 1969, the larger Type 4, 411 and 412 models were introduced.
These differed substantially from previous vehicles, with a notable introduction of monocoque/uni body construction, the option of a fully automatic transmission, electronic fuel injection, and a sturdier power plant.
In 1964, Volkswagen acquired Auto Union, and in 1969, NSU Motor Network AG, NSU.
The former company owned the historic Audi brand, which had disappeared after the Second World War.
VW ultimately merged Auto Union and NSU to create the modern Audi company, and would go on to develop it as its luxury vehicle marque.
The purchase of Auto Union and NSU was a pivotal point in Volkswagen's history, as both companies yielded the technological expertise that proved necessary for VW to survive when demand for its air-cooled models went into decline.
Volkswagen added a Super Beetle, the Type 131, to its lineup in 1971.
The Type 131 differed from the standard Beetle in its use of a McPherson strut front suspension instead of the usual torsion bars.
The Super Beetle featured a new hooded, padded dash and curved windshield from 1973 model year on up.
Rack and pinion steering replaced recirculating ball steering gears in the model year 1975 and up.
The front of the car was stretched 2 inches, 51 millimeters, to allow the spare tire to lie flat, and the combination of these two features increased the usable front luggage space. In 1973, Volkswagen introduced the military theme Type 181, or Tracker in Europe, thing in America, recalling the wartime Type 82.
The military version was produced for the NATO-era German army during the Cold War years of 1970 to 1979.
The US thing version only sold for 2 years, 1973 and 1974. By late 1972, Volkswagen had decided to cancel the nearly finished TIP 266, a project for a mid-engine car to replace the Beetle and to focus on front-wheel drive, water-cooled cars.
Rudolf Leighton, recently made head of Volkswagen, cited noise, heat, and servicing problems with a mid-engine layout, as well as the difficulty of making it a station wagon.
Volkswagen was in serious trouble by 1973.
The Type 3 and Type 4 models had sold in much smaller numbers than the Beetle and the NSU. This J70 also failed to sell.
Beetle sales had started to decline rapidly in European and North American markets.
The company knew that Beetle production had to end, but faced a conundrum of how to replace it.
VW's ownership of Audi/Auto Union proved beneficial.
Its expertise in front-wheel drive and water-cooled engines would help Volkswagen produce a credible Beetle successor.
Audi influences paved the way for this new generation of Volkswagens, the Passat, Scirocco, Golf, and Polo. First in the series was the Volkswagen Passat Dasher in the US, introduced in 1973, a fastback version of the Audi 80, using many identical body and mechanical parts.
Estate/wagon versions were available in many markets.
In Europe, the estate/wagon version dominated market share for many years. In spring 1974, the Scirocco followed.
The coupe was designed by Giorgetto Giugiaro.
Based on the platform of the not yet released Golf, it was built at Carmen due to capacity constraints at Volkswagen. The pivotal model emerged as the Volkswagen Golf in 1974, marketed in the United States and Canada as the Rapid for the first generation, 1975 to 1985, and fifth generation, 2006 to 2009.
Its angular styling was designed by the Italian Giorgetto Giugiaro.
Its design followed trends for small family cars set by the 1959 Mini. The Golf had a transversely mounted water-cooled engine in the front, driving the front wheels, and had a hatchback. A format that has dominated the market segment ever since.
Beetle production at Wolfsburg ended upon the Golf's introduction.
It continued in smaller numbers at other German factories, Hanover and Emden, until 1978, but mainstream production shifted to Brazil and Mexico. In 1975, the Volkswagen Polo followed.
It was a rebadged Audi 50, which was soon discontinued in 1978.
The Polo became the base of the Volkswagen Derby, which was introduced in 1977.
The Derby was for all intents and purposes a three-box design of the Polo.
After a second model generation, the Derby was discontinued in 1985, although the body style lived on in the form of the Polo Classic/Polo Saloon until 1991. Passat, Scirocco, Golf, and Polo shared many character-defining features, as well as parts and engines.
They built the basis for Volkswagen's turnaround.
While Volkswagen's range of cars soon became similar to that of other large European car makers, the Golf has been the mainstay of the Volkswagen lineup since its introduction, and the mechanical basis for several other cars of the company.
There have been 8 generations of the Volkswagen Golf, the first of which was produced from the summer of 1974 until the autumn of 1983. Sold as the Rapid in the United States and Canada and as the Care in Latin America.
Its chassis also spawned the Volkswagen Scirocco Sport Coupe, Volkswagen Jetta Saloon/Sedan, Volkswagen Golf Cabriolet Convertible, and Volkswagen Caddy Pickup.
North American production of the Rapid commenced at the Volkswagen Westmoreland assembly plant near New Stanton, Pennsylvania in 1978.
It would be produced in the United States as the Rapid until the spring of 1984.
The second generation Golf hatchback/Jetta sedan ran from October 1983 until the autumn of 1991. And the North American version, produced at Westmoreland Assembly, went on sale at the start of the 1985 model year.
The production numbers of the first generation Golf has continued to grow annually in South Africa as the CD Golf, with only minor modifications to the interior. Engine and chassis using tooling relocated from the New Stanton, Pennsylvania plant when that site began to build the second generation car. In the 1980s, Volkswagen sales in the United States and Canada fell dramatically, despite the success of models like the Golf elsewhere.
Sales in the United States were 293,595 in 1980, but by 1984 they were down to 177,709.
The introduction of the second generation Golf, GTI and Jetta models helped Volkswagen briefly in North America.
Motor Trend named the GTI its Car of the Year for 1985, and Volkswagen rose in the JD Power Buyer Satisfaction ratings to 8th place in 1985, up from 22nd a year earlier.
VW's American sales broke 200,000 in 1985 and 1986 before resuming the downward trend from earlier in the decade.
Chairman Carl Hahn decided to expand the company elsewhere, mostly in developing countries, and the new Stanton, Pennsylvania factory closed on 14 July 1988.
Meanwhile, 4 years after signing a cooperation agreement with a Spanish car maker Seat in 1982, Hahn expanded the company by purchasing a majority share of Seat up to 75% by the end of 1986, which VW bought outright in 1990.
On 4 July 1985, Volkswagen Work AG was renamed to Volkswagen AG.
Volkswagen entered the super mini market in 1975 with a Volkswagen Polo, a stylish and spacious three-door hatchback designed by Bertone.
It was a strong seller in West Germany and most of the rest of Western Europe, being one of the first foreign small cars to prove popular in Britain.
It had started out in 1974 as the Audi 50, which was only available in certain markets and was less popular.
The Polo entered a market sector already, being dominated by the Fiat 127 and Renault 5, and which before long would also include the Austin Metro and Ford Fiesta.
In 1981, the second generation Polo launched as a hatchback, resembling a small estate car.
In 1983, the range was expanded with the introduction of a coupe, similar to a conventional hatchback, and the classic, a two-door saloon.
The Polo's practicality, despite the lack of a five-door version, helped ensure even stronger sales than its predecessor.
It continued to sell well after a makeover in 1990, finally being replaced by an all-new version in 1994.
Also arriving in 1981 were the second generation of the larger Passat and the second generation of the Volkswagen Scirocco Coupe. In 1983, the MK2 Golf was launched.
At the beginning of 1988, the third generation Passat was the next major car launch, and Volkswagen did not produce a hatchback version of this Passat. Despite the rising popularity of the hatchback body style throughout Europe.
Just after launching the P3 Passat, Volkswagen launched the Corrado, analogous to the Scirocco, although the Scirocco remained in production until 1992. A third generation of Scirocco was in production 2008 to 17. In 1991, Volkswagen launched the third generation Golf, which was European Car of the Year for 1992.
The Golf MK3 and Jetta MK3 arrived in North America in 1993.
The sedan version of the Golf was Dash Vento in Europe but remained Jetta in the United States.
The Scirocco and the later Corrado were both Golf-based coupes.
In 1994, Volkswagen unveiled the J-Maze Design Concept 1, a retro-themed concept car with a resemblance to the original Beetle, based on the platform of the Polo.
Due to a positive response to the concept, a production version was developed as the new Beetle, based on the Golf's larger platform.
In 1995, the Sharon was launched in Europe, the result of a joint venture with Ford, which also resulted in the Ford Galaxy and Seat Alhambra. The company's evolution of its model range was continued with a Golf MK4, introduced at the end of 1997, North America. In 1999, its chassis spawned a host of other cars within the Volkswagen Group, the Volkswagen Bora. The sedan known as the Jetta in the United States, Seat Toledo, Seat Leon, Audi A3, Audi TT, and Skoda Octavia.
Other main models during the decade include the Polo, a smaller car than the Golf, and the larger Passat, for the segment above the Golf.
In 1998, the company launched the new Lupo City car.
In 1999, they announced the first 3-liter car, a lightweight version of the Lupo that could travel 100 kilometers with only 3 liters of diesel, making it the world's most fuel-efficient car at the time.
Volkswagen began introducing an array of new models after Bernd Geschäftsführer became Volkswagen Group CEO, responsible for all group brands, in 2002.
The 6th generation VW Golf was launched in 2008, came runner-up to the Opel/Vauxhall insignia in the 2009 European Car of the Year, and has spawned several cousins: VW Jetta, VW Scirocco, Seat Leon, Seat Toledo, Skoda Octavia, and Audi A3 hatchback ranges, as well as a new mini MPV, the Seat Altea.
The GTI, the hot-hatch, performance version of the Golf, boasts a 2.0 liters turbo, charged fuel stratified injection, FSI, direct injection engine.
VW began marketing the Golf under the Rapid name once again in the US and Canada in 2006.
The 6th generation Passat and the 5th generation Jetta both debuted in 2005, and Volkswagen announced plans to expand its lineup further by bringing back the Scirocco by 2008.
Other models in Wolfgang Bernhard's Volkswagen brand CEO product offensive include the TaBNWNE mid-sized SUV in 2008 and the Passat Coupe.
In November 2006, Bernd Geschäftsführer announced his resignation as Volkswagen Group CEO and was replaced by Audi Worldwide CEO Martin Unterkern at the beginning of 2007. Volkswagen maintained North American sales of 224,195 in 2005.
The momentum continued for fiscal 2006 as Volkswagen's North American sales for the year were 235,140 vehicles, a 4.9% increase over 2005, despite a slump in domestic North American manufacturer sales.
In conjunction with the introduction of new models, the production location of Volkswagen vehicles also underwent a great change.
The 2007 ES, a hardtop convertible, is produced in a new facility in Portugal.
All Golf/Rabbits and GTI'/SS of 2006 are manufactured in Wolfsburg, Germany, rather than Cuba, Mexico. Where Golfs and GTI'/S for the North American market were produced from 1989 to 1998, and the Brazilian factory in Curitiba, where Golfs and GTI'/S were produced from 1999 to 2006. The Jetta has been primarily manufactured in Mexico since 1989.
Volkswagen is also in the process of reconfiguring an automotive assembly plant in Belgium.
The new models and investments in manufacturing improvements were immediately noticed by automotive critics.
Favorable reviews for Volkswagen's newest cars include the GTI, being named by Consumer Reports as the top sporty car under $25,000. One of Car and Driver magazine's 10 Best for 2007, Automobile Magazine's 2007 Car of the Year. as well as a 2008 Motor Trend comparison ranking the mid-sized class at first in its class.
Volkswagen partnered with Daimler AG and other companies to market the BlueTech clean diesel technology on cars and trucks, from Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, and other companies and brands.
According to the United States Environmental Protection Agency, 4 of the 10 most fuel-efficient vehicles available for sale in the United States are powered by Volkswagen diesel engines.
Volkswagen has offered a number of its vehicles with a TDI, turbocharged direct injection engine, which lends class-leading fuel economy to several models.
They were a 3-way tie 4/8, TDI Beetle, TDI Golf, TDI Jetta, and 9th, the TDI Jet Wagon.
In addition, all Volkswagen TDI diesel engines, produced from 1996 to 2006, can be driven on 100% biodiesel fuel.
For the 2007 model year, however, strict U.S. government emissions regulations have forced Volkswagen to drop most diesels from their U.S. engine lineup. But a new lineup of diesel engines, then thought compatible to U.S. standards, returned to the American market, starting with model year 2009.
These post-2009 clean diesel engines are limited to running on 5% V5 biodiesel only to maintain Volkswagen's warranty.
Volkswagen long resisted adding a SUV to its lineup, but relented with the introduction of the Touareg, made in partnership with Porsche. While they worked on the Porsche Cayenne and later the Audi Q7.
Though claimed as a fine handling vehicle, the Touareg has been a modest seller at best, and it has been criticized by auto reviewers for its absence of a third-row seat, the relatively poor fuel economy, and the high vehicle mass.
Volkswagen set plans to add a compact SUV with style and influences from the Concept, a concept vehicle introduced at the 2006 Geneva Auto Show. And on 20 July 2006, Volkswagen announced that a new vehicle, called the TaBNWNE.
Since the discontinuation of the T4 in 2003 and the decision not to export the T5 to the United States, Volkswagen, coincidentally, lacked a van for its North American lineup.
To remedy this, Volkswagen launched the Volkswagen Routin, a engineered Dodge Grand Caravan made for the American and Canadian markets in 2008.
In September 2006, Volkswagen began offering the City Golf and City Jetta only for the Canadian market.
Both models were originally the MK4 Golf and Jetta but were later replaced with the Brazilian versions of the Golf MK4 and Bora.
Volkswagen's introduction of such models is seen as a test of the market for a subcompact and, if successful, may be the beginnings of a thriving subcompact market for Volkswagen. In May 2011, Volkswagen completed Chattanooga assembly in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
The Chattanooga assembly plant marked VW's first plant since the plant at New Stanton was closed down.
The facility has produced Volkswagen cars and SUVs specifically designed for the North American markets, beginning with a Passat B7 in 2011.
The company recently announced plans to expand further by investing $900 million to add floor space to the factory.
The VW XL1 began a limited production run in 2015.
The XL1 is a lightweight and fuel-efficient two-person vehicle, only 795 kilograms.
2015 saw the company engulfed in scandal. The Volkswagen emissions scandal, sometimes known as Dieselgate or Emissions Gate, began in September 2015 when the United States Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, issued a notice of violation of the Clean Air Act to German automaker Volkswagen Group.
The agency had found that Volkswagen had intentionally programmed Curvature's direct injection (TDI) diesel engines to activate their emissions controls only during laboratory emissions testing, which caused the vehicle's nitric oxide output to meet US standards during regulatory testing.
However, the vehicles emitted up to 40 times more nitric oxide in real-world driving.
Volkswagen deployed this software in about 11 million cars worldwide, including 500,000 in the United States in model years 2009 through 2015.
The Volkswagen Atlas, a large crossover SUV, began production in late 2016 and aimed to help end several years of losses for Volkswagen in the United States, the world's second largest auto market.
On 14 September 2016, Volkswagen announced its partnership with three Israeli cybersecurity experts to create a new company, TaBNWNE, dedicated to automotive security.
In 2017, Volkswagen announced plans to place a considerable focus on electric vehicles, EV, with a goal to, by 2025, launch at least 30 EV models, and have 20 to 25% of their total yearly sales volume, 2 to 3 million, consist of EVs.
In September, Volkswagen CEO Matthias Muller stated that the company aimed to have electric versions of all of its vehicle models by 2030, at a cost of €20 billion and €50 billion on acquisition of batteries.
On 6 March 2017 at the Geneva Motor Show, Volkswagen presented its prototype for a fully autonomous car, Cedric. Volkswagen returned to motorsport in 2018 by unveiling its all-electric IDR.
At the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb, Roman Dumas set an all-time course record of just under 8 minutes driving the IDR.
In September 2018, Volkswagen announced that it would discontinue production of the Beetle A5 in 2019.
Also in September 2018, Volkswagen announced its $100 million investment in Silicon Valley-based solid-state battery startup QuantumScape, becoming the startup's largest automotive investor and gaining representation on its board.
In February 2019, Volkswagen announced that it would launch an entry-level Jetta sub-brand in China, aimed at young buyers.
3 models were announced in July 2019, a sedan and 2 SUVs, all 3 of which will be manufactured in China as a part of Volkswagen's joint venture with FAW.
In September 2019 at the Frankfurt Motor Show, Volkswagen officially unveiled a refreshed logo, a thinner, 2-dimensional version of the previous logo, and new sonic branding, which will accompany the newly launched ID.3 electric vehicle.
Volkswagen stated that the ID.3 signified the start of a new era of the company.
In September 2019, Volkswagen also announced a program to allow all Beetle models to be converted to run on electric power.
The electric motor and battery updates will be done in partnership with German company E-Classics.
The electric components used for retrofitting will be based upon those found in the model. In November 2020, Volkswagen announced that, trying to remain the world's largest car maker in the green era, it has increased its investment in electric and self-driving cars to $86 billion over the next 5 years. In January 2021, Volkswagen announced that its sales in 2020 dropped by 9.9% in China, 23.4% in Western Europe, and 17.1% in North America. In March 2021, Volkswagen announced that it would stop developing new internal combustion engines, although it would keep tweaking existing engines to comply with stricter emission rules.
Also, the company announced it was changing the American division's name to Volkswagen with the help of Johannes Leonardo, before revealing the move to be a hoax.
In a tweet, the company said the stunt got the whole world buzzing.
However, some news sources considered the announcement to be real, including the Associated Press, whose headline about being fooled stated, "Volkswagen caught lying again, this time about changing its name."
In March 2022, Volkswagen released the ID. Buzz electric minivan. Volkswagen planning a hydrogen car with 1,250 range of mile.
VW CEO has stated that they do not plan to roll out H2 passenger vehicles in the 2020s.
The deal showcase in the patent filing was developed as part of a collaboration between Volkswagen and Kraftwerk Tubes. On 11 May 2022, Volkswagen confirmed the relaunch of its Scout off-road vehicle brand, this time as an EV.
Production is set to begin in 2026, and this relaunch will be the first time that VW creates a new brand based solely in the US market.
In July 2022, Volkswagen noted the development of the first of their own gigafactories.
The site, based in Salzgitter in Germany, has been termed Mission Salzgitter.
The new business unit is focused on all of Volkswagen's battery activities, from raw materials and the cell right through to recycling, and is part of a €20 billion investment.
Another Volkswagen gigafactory, project in Segundo, needed government subsidies in order to go ahead.
In September 2022, Volkswagen introduced the ID. Extreme 1 concept car, an off-road electric SUV. In December 2023, VW announced that its brand selling in the North American market, Volkswagen, Porsche, Audi, Scout Motors, would adopt the Tesla-initiated NACS charging connector starting in 2025. In June 2024, VW stated that it will continue to heavily develop its internal combustion engine vehicles amid dwindling sales of its EV product line. In October 2024, Scout Motors announced it will sell directly to customers and service vehicles itself, following the model adopted by Tesla and other EV competitors, rather than use the Volkswagen dealer network. In December 2024, workers at Volkswagen factories in Germany announced they were going to strike over plans to close at least 3 plants, lay off thousands of workers, and cut pay by 10%. Volkswagen is the founding and namesake member of the Volkswagen Group, a large international corporation in charge of multiple car and truck brands, including Audi, Seat, Porsche, Lamborghini, Bentley, Bugatti, Scania, MAN, and Skoda.
Volkswagen Group's global headquarters are located in Volkswagen's historic home of Wolfsburg, Germany.
Volkswagen Group, as a unit, is Europe's largest motor vehicle manufacturer, with over 74,000 employees and over 7,700 dealerships.
For a long time, Volkswagen has had a market share over 20%.
In 2010, Volkswagen posted record sales of 6.29 million vehicles, with its global market share at 11.4%.
In 2008, Volkswagen became the third largest car maker in the world, and as of 2016, Volkswagen was the second largest manufacturer worldwide.
In 2018, the company benefited from trade tariffs and new emission standards, with record deliveries of 10.8 million vehicles.
Volkswagen Group's core markets include Germany and China.
In July 2019, Volkswagen invested $2.6 billion in Argo AI, a startup focused on developing self-driving vehicles. Volkswagen has factories in many parts of the world, manufacturing or assembling vehicles for local markets.
In addition to plants in Germany, Volkswagen has manufacturing or assembly facilities in Mexico, the United States, Slovakia, China, India, Russia. Sold to the Russian company Avilum in 2023, Malaysia, Brazil, Argentina, Portugal, Spain, Poland, the Czech Republic, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Kenya and South Africa.
In 2011, Volkswagen was named in the top 25 largest companies in the world by the Forbes Global 2000. As of May 2014, Volkswagen was planning to start assembling certain engines in India to increase localization from 70% to 90%. In January 2016, Volkswagen announced the launch of a new factory in Algeria during a summit between Angela Merkel and Algerian Prime Minister Abdelmalek Sall.
The factory was launched in Relizon, producing Volkswagen Golf 7, Volkswagen Polo, Volkswagen Caddy, Sedan and Skoda Octavia cars.
In the 2021 review of WIPO's annual World Intellectual Property Indicators, VW ranked 6th in the world for its 84 industrial design registrations that were published under the Hague system during 2020.
This position is down on their previous 5th place ranking for 73 industrial design registrations, being published in 2019.
Since 1985, Volkswagen has also run the Volkswagen Auto Museum in Wolfsburg, which is dedicated to the history of the company. With 120,000 employees in Germany, VW is one of the most well-organized and ever-represented companies in the world in Germany.
The role that works councils and IG Metal play is unique even within Germany.
VW workers have some of the strongest collective agreements.
VW has a strong tradition and practice of social partnership and co-determination.
Volkswagen agreed in December 2011 to implement a rule passed by the company's Works Council aimed at improving work-life balance and avoiding burnout by restricting company email functionality on the firm's BlackBerry smartphones to working periods and the half hour before and after working periods.
About 1,150 of Volkswagen's more than 190,000 employees in Germany were affected by the email restriction.
Because of Volkswagen's use of IPPD, a human contact allergen, in various polymers of their vehicles, they have coined the term Volkswagen dermatitis. Workers of the German auto manufacturer Volkswagen Group are collectively organized and represented by unions and works councils across the globe.
Workers are organized on multiple levels, locally, regionally, nationally, internationally, and by marque.
Within Germany, the role of the union IG Metal and Works Councils at Volkswagen is unique, even compared with other large auto firms. Volkswagen workers have some of the strongest organized labor power at any company in the world.
These powers are codified in different collective agreements internationally.
In Germany, collective agreements cover 120,000 workers, almost the entire workforce. Workers at all of its major locations are represented in the Global Works Council and local union bodies.
VW Group has a tradition and practice of social partnership and co-determination rights between management and workers beyond the regulated standards.
VW Group operates 120 plants in 29 countries as of November 2021.
VW Group opened its first foreign plant in Brazil in 1953.
Transnational labor organizing started in the 1970s with German workers and workers at its foreign locations, which were Belgium, Brazil, Mexico, and South Africa.
The German Works Councils were particularly concerned with the political developments in apartheid South Africa and the military dictatorship in Brazil.
While most of the Volkswagen unions operate on a respective national level, several transnational structures like the VW Global and European Works Councils and the Intersoli Groups bridge these connections. A general tension exists between the interests of the workers in the headquarter state, Germany, and foreign states, but workers in foreign states also gain strategic benefits from having closer access to a well-resourced union, IG Metall, and the German Works Councils, with their direct access to central management. From a managerial point of view, countries with limited employee representation, and therefore lower labor costs, have a competitive advantage over countries with strong representation, that is, Germany.
For German VW workers, expanding German best practices globally neutralizes that threat by leveling the playing field.
The International Solidarity Intersoli Working Group of IG Metall Wolfsburg, German, Arbeitskreis Internationale Solidarität der IG Metall Wolfsburg, launched in 1982, with separate working groups focused on Brazil, Mexico, and South Africa.
In February 1999, Intersoli launched the China Working Group.
3 years later, the Central and Eastern Europe Working Group was established in February 2002. Intersoli, in addition to the VW World Group Committee, established in 1979 by the International Metalworkers Federation, facilitates global contact between German union members and workers in foreign operations. With the acquisition of Seat in 1986, VW Group had operations in 3 European states, Germany, Belgium, and Spain.
The German Group Works Council and foreign members of VW Group initiated the formation of a European Works Council.
The first meeting was in 1990, with a signed agreement in 1992, a full 2 years prior to the EU ratification of the European Works Council Directive 94/45/EC. As of 2017, the VW European Works Council has 70 employee representatives. The Volkswagen Group Global Works Council, GWC, also known as the Volkswagen Group World Works Council, was established in 1998.
It was the first global works council of its kind anywhere in the world.
The first president and general secretary of the GWC was Klaus Volkert, the VW European Group and General Works Council chair at the time.
The preamble and provisions of the GWC are copied nearly verbatim from the VW European Works Council agreements, albeit with a different formula accounting for the additional non-European countries.
It consisted of 27 employee representatives, 20 from Europe and 7 from other parts of the world.
It has grown as of 2017 to 100 employee representatives.
In 2002, the VW Group, Global and European Works Council signed the Declaration on Social Rights and Industrial Relationships at Volkswagen, a Global Framework Agreement, GFA, with the International Metalworkers Federation. In 2012, VW Group and the Industrial Global Union signed the Global Framework Agreement, Charter on Temporary Work, for the Volkswagen Group, specifying the terms and conditions of agency workers at VW Group and its subsidiaries.
However, VW Group formally limits the scope of the GFA to countries represented in the Global Works Council, which China is not a member of.
In later years, Chinese temporary workers at FAW Volkswagen posted on social media highlights from the Charter on Temporary Work as evidence of VW Group's commitment to its temporary workforce. In 2019, Industrial suspended its agreement with VW Group over its refusal to bargain with the United Auto Workers in the United States. Volkswagen Group is organized on multiple levels, locally, regionally, nationally, internationally, and by marque.
The heart of its labor representation is in Wolfsburg, Germany.
Its headquarter plant alone has over 65,000 employees, or half of the total German workforce. Volkswagen Work GmbH, Volkswagen Factory GmbH, was established in Wolfsburg, Germany in 1937 by the German Labor Front, a Nazi organization.
It is estimated by historians that 60 to 70% of the workforce were enslaved or forced labor, including from Arbeitsdorf, a concentration camp specifically built for providing VW with enslaved labor.
Workers were subject to racialized hierarchies when it came to housing, nutrition, and treatment, with Soviet prisoners of war, Poles, and Eastern workers on the bottom of the hierarchy. In July 1945, with pressure from Social Democrats and Communists, a Provisional Works Council, German, Betriebswirtschaft and Literature, factory representation, was authorized by the British occupying power.
It was expressly forbidden for the Works Council to discuss politics or practice co-determination.
However, it had informational and discussion rights.
By November 1945, the first democratically elected Works Council was voted in.
Given Volkswagen's origins and the political climate after the end of World War II, British Major Ivan Hirst was tasked with the unification of Volkswagen in the autumn of 1945, which initially applied solely to VW management on a limited scale.
In January 1946, Hirst declared the denazification process as complete, to the dismay of the Works Council and the General Union.
228 mid to lower level managers were selected for dismissal due to their alleged Nazi associations in June 1946.
1 year later, the Works Council still had very limited co-determination rights, particularly when it came to reinstating dismissed Nazi sympathizers.
In 1947, the provisions of the Control Council Act No. 22 were applied to VW, which notably included co-determination rights over hiring, firing, and transfer of employees. In addition to the infighting between the Social Democrats, SPD, and the Communists, KPD, far-right-wing union opposition candidates from the German Right Party, DRP, Deutsche Party, ran for the first time in 1948.
In the following 1949 Works Council elections, due to the political climate, DRP won 70% of the Wolfsburg City Council election in 1948. And a workforce composed of Wehrmacht officers, freed soldiers and German refugees from the East, the two leading unions IG Metall and German Salaried Employees Union reserved 6 spots in their Works Council election lists for right-wing candidates as a strategy of neutralizing the opposition.
The transfer of Volkswagen by the British authorities to the governments of Lower Saxony and the newly formed West German government in 1949 completed its transfer of ownership to Germany.
IG Metall became the dominant union force in VW 1 year later, coinciding with a German period of economic miracles.
In the VW Group Supervisory Board, IG Metal and the VW Group Works Council can appoint 10 employee representative seats, with the other 10 seats filled by the employer.
Within the 10 employee representative seats, 7 are reserved for VW Group employees, including 1 managerial employee, and the remaining 3 are reserved for union representatives. That is, IG Metal, including its president Georg Hoffman.
Typically, the chair of the supervisory board, from the employer side, has 2 votes, tipping the supervisory board towards the employer side.
However, in the case of VW, on the employer side, Lower Saxony State holds 2 seats, which are currently filled by politician Stefan Will and Bernd Alfesman.
When Social Democrat politicians fill the employer seats, it contributes to a labor-friendly supervisory board. A provision in the 1960 Volkswagen Act that privatized Volkswagen Group GmbH into Volkswagen Group AG, Aktiengesellschaft, stipulates 80% of shareholders are needed to pass any major decisions.
Lower Saxony State has a voting share of 20.2%, ensuring a veto power on any major decisions.
Due to this veto power, the German Employers Association precludes VW Group from membership or concluding sectoral agreements within any regional branches of the Employers Associations in the metal and electrical engineering industries, Gesamtmittel.
Unlike its automotive competitors BMW or Daimler who have regional agreements, this means LG Metal negotiates directly with Volkswagen Group instead of an employer association.
The Volkswagen in-house collective agreements are some of the strongest collective agreements in Germany.
The 2021 collective agreement applies to 120,000 VW workers in the following 6 plants: Wolfsburg, Braunschweig, Hanover, Salzgitter, Emden and Kassel, as well as Volkswagen Financial Services.
The chair of the Global European Group, General and Local Wolfsburg Works Council is Daniela Cavallo.
She was elected in the Wolfsburg Works Council election in March 2022, the headquarter plant.
The IG Metal list 166 out of 73 Works Council seats.
Cavallo first served as the chair in May 2021 when she was appointed to succeed Bernd Osterloh.
She is the first woman chair at VW Group and is arguably the most powerful employee representative in all of Germany. During the 2018 Wolfsburg Works Council election, 86% of employees voted for the IG Metal list for 66 out of 75 Works Council seats, with only 2 other lists competing.
A network of 2,500 rank-and-file IG Metal union representatives, organized internally by the Union Representative Steering Committee of VW. German, Vertrauenskorporat and VW ensure the IG Metal-backed Works Council has extensive influence and reach in the workplace.
Additionally, VW Group pays for 70 administrative personnel to assist the Works Councils in performing their duties. Volkswagen de Brazil, VW Brazil, was established on 23 March 1953 to reassemble Beetle cars in the growing market.
It was Brazil's first German automobile plant and VW's first foreign factory.
In the 1960s, VW Brazil was VW Group's largest foreign member and Brazil's 5th largest industrial firm.
From 1960 to the 1970s, its workforce increased from 7,000 employees to over 40,000.
Union activity in VW Brazil was heavily repressed until the 1980s.
In a 2014 National Truth Commission, the extent to which VW Brazil management collaborated with a Brazilian military dictatorship was revealed.
VW Group commissioned a year-long study in 2016 by historian Christopher Copper to uncover the extent to which VW Group participated and collaborated in repression of its employees.
In 2020, VW Group agreed to pay €5.5 million, part of which will go to Heinrich Plague Victims Association, and the rest going towards various research and human rights projects.
While VW Brazil was not directly involved with the 1964 military overthrow of the Brazilian government, as a significant financial contributor to the Industrial Association of Sao Paulo, FIESP, which wielded political influence and was in favor of regime change, VW Brazil CEO Friedrich Schultzling was most likely in favor as well.
Wing not only justified the violence and repression against communists, PCP, and union leaders, but in a letter to VW Group CEO Heinrich Nordhoff, Wing stated, "What is currently taking place is a hunt such as we did not even see that, in 1933 in Germany, a nod to the Nazi rise to power in Germany, which was stated in awe and respect rather than war."
Nordhoff did not share the same enthusiasm, not because of concern for human rights, but because of the negative impact the political instability might have on VW Brazil.
Lower Saxony State had 50% ownership of VW Group but did not interfere with VW Brazil throughout.
Management at VW Group and VW Brazil both benefited from and saw the military dictatorship in a positive light. Labor laws, established during the Vargas dictatorship, 1937 to 1945, were already weak and they remained in place during the democratic phase, 1946 to 1964, for example. Collective agreements could only be approved by the Ministry of Labor, and the establishment of a federal metal workers union was forbidden in favor of regional federations.
Labor laws were further weakened in June 1964 with the Strike Act, Liga Greve, which criminalized striking with prison sentences of 6 to 12 months for strike leaders.
Since 1969 there was collaboration between VW Brazil's Internal Works Security Department, Portuguese, Departamento de Segurança Industria, and the Brazilian Political Police, DEOPS. Brazilian Portuguese, Departamento Estadual de Ordem Política e Social.
It was headed by Brazilian Army Officer Major Ademar Rush.
Their collaboration led to the arrests and torture of at least 12 employees of VW Brazil, including Communist Party of Brazil member Lucio Delantani, who described his arrest to the Brazil National Truth Commission, with numerous more being blacklisted.
By 1973, for every 79 VW Brazil employees, there was one member of the Works Security Department, enabling a deeply surveilled workplace.
It was only in 1975 that the General Works Council of Volkswagen Group began to investigate the working conditions in Brazil.
A 1976 delegation including the Works Council Chair Siegfried Ehlers met with a local affiliate of the São Bernardo do Campo Metalworkers Union, facilitated by the International Metalworkers Federation.
After hearing serious allegation of wage dispersion, surveillance of workers and ban on union assemblies, the delegation asked to meet with the VW Brazil union representatives directly.
To the delegation's surprise, the representatives denied the allegations made by the local metalworkers union.
There were no legitimate employee representatives from and up to 1977. The few existing union representatives were politicos more closely associated with the company than the workers.
Before 1980, the only legitimate contacts available to the German Works Council was the local San Bernardo to Campo Union Committee.
Additionally, they had communication channels through the International Metalworkers Federation and the International Relations Department of the IG Metal. By 1979, due to pressure from the German media and the employee representatives on Volkswagen Group's supervisory board, VW Group was forced to change from being a passive beneficiary of the military dictatorship to an agent of change.
In October 1980, VW Brazil became the first major company in Brazil to have employee representation, a works council, even though it was not required by law.
Skoda Auto AS employs 37,000 employees in Czechia across 3 plants in Władysław, Saxony and Wrocław.
Employees of Skoda are unionized in the Metal Workers Union, Czech, Odbory Svazkovo, Ostkovo, affiliated to the CMKOS.
The regional affiliate of the union, Knovo MD, is chaired by Jaroslav Pavsik.
Pavsik is also on the supervisory board of Skoda.
Volkswagen Group China has operated since 1984 in China with the establishment of joint venture SAIC Volkswagen, followed by FAW Volkswagen in 1991 and JAC in 2017.
Independent unions in China are banned, with the All China Federation of Trade Unions, ACFTU, being the only permanent one.
80% of VW China's 23,000 employees are unionized and include a works council structure. In February 1999, Intersoli launched the China Working Group, in part to address the numerous human rights issues in China and limited union democracy.
In 2010, for the first time, China was present in the Global Works Council meeting.
In 2016, Chinese legislation regarding temporary work expired.
Temporary workers of the Shenzhen FAW Volkswagen, FAW VW, plant sought collective bargaining with ACFTU. FAW VW and temporary agencies to represent 3,000 agency workers.
Workers argued their working conditions not only breached Chinese labor law, but also Volkswagen's Global Framework Agreement, Charter on Temporary Work. Temporary worker demands included equal pay between them and regular employees of FAW VW, a conversion of temporary contracts into permanent ones, and limiting the reliance on temporary workers.
After several unsuccessful rounds of bargaining and an unsuccessful court petition, hundreds of workers organized a protest in the front of the factory gate in February 2017 under the slogan, "Equal pay for equal work."
Following another demo, organized on 21 May, 3 worker representatives, Fu Tianbo, Wang Shui, and AZNU, were detained by police on 26 May.
Shui and Zenu were released, while Tianbo remained in custody on the accusation of disturbing public order.
A Volkswagen spokesperson told Frankfurter Rundschau, due to the criminal charges, there was nothing further they could do for Tianbo.
In contrast, Han Dongfeng, a labor activist and founder of China Labor Bulletin, told Frankfurter Rundschau newspaper that VW Group, IG Metal and VW Works Councils could do more to support Tianbo, like visiting Tianbo in jail.
In November 2018, Tianbo was found guilty but exempted from further punishment. Volkswagen Mexico employs 13,000 workers in its main plant in Puebla.
Since 1972, VW workers are represented by the Independent Union of Volkswagen, SITIAVW, Spanish, Sindicato Independiente de Trabajadores Volkswagen.
From 1966 to 1972, the Volkswagen Union was affiliated with the undemocratic and PRI, Affiliated Confederation of Mexican Workers, CTM.
Initially, the VW Union was affiliated with CGT.
When VW Union disaffiliated from CTM in 1972, it affiliated with the Independent Workers Union, UOI, Spanish, Union Obrera Independiente. However, by late 1970s, UOI stopped being independent and followed PRI guidelines.
SITIAVW disaffiliated and remained an independent single-factory union until 1997, when ETCO founded UNT, a progressive union federation.
In 2018, SITIAVW formed a new industrial union federation for all automotive, rubber and aerospace unions. Volkswagen Slovakia employs 9,000 employees at its Bratislava and Martin plants.
Since 2016, 75% of its workers are unionized members of Modern Volkswagen Union, MOV, Slovak, Modern Odbury Volkswagen, which formed after a contentious split from the Volkswagen branch of Metal Workers Union, Slovak, OZKOVO, affiliated with the KOZSR.
On 20 June 2017, an estimated 70% of the workforce across 3 facilities participated in the first strike ever at Volkswagen Slovakia, demanding a 16% pay raise instead of the initially proposed 9%.
After 6 days, the workers successfully achieved the 14% pay raise and ended the strikes.
Volkswagen of South Africa, VWSA, employs 6,000 workers and is a highly unionized workforce, with 80% of its workforce belonging to NUMSA, which is affiliated with COSATU and the wider Tripartite Alliance. South African Motor Assemblers and Distributors Limited, SAMA, agreed to manufacture Beetle cars in Utendish, Eastern Cape for Volkswagen.
By 1956, VW acquired a controlling stake in SAMA.
In 1966, SAMA was renamed to its present name Volkswagen of South Africa.
That same year, the apartheid government enacted legislation for white-only unions.
VWSA began negotiating with white-only South African Iron, Steel and Allied Industries Union.
The International Metal Workers Federation pressured the Trade Union Council of South Africa to form parallel unions for black, colored and Indian workers.
By May 1969, half of VWSA's colored workers organized with the National Union of Motor Assembly and Rubber Workers of South Africa, New Marwoza, which was formally recognized by VWSA. While legal bargaining rights existed for white, colored and Indian workers, none existed for black workers.
The 1973 Bantu-Labor Relations Act for black workers stipulated the creation of liaison committees on the plant level, which were limited in power.
Nonetheless, the VW Liaison Committee was dominated by future union representatives of the newly created United Automobile, Rubber, and Allied Workers Union of South Africa, UAW, the parallel union for black workers. New Marwoza and UAW eventually merged into a non-racial National Automobile and Allied Workers Union, which later merged into the modern-day NUMSA. 4 years after the Soweto uprisings in 1980, black workers of UAW at VWSA engaged in their first strike action.
IG Metal and the International Metal Workers Federation raised £38,000 for strike fund and exerted pressure through VW Group on its subsidiary
The strike lasted 3 weeks, with no layoffs, a higher hourly wage of 1.45 rands and a strengthened union, despite the fact that black unions were not legally recognized.
In September 1980, VWSA became the first company in South Africa to pay for full-time union representatives.
Shortly afterwards, the inter-solely working groups were established.
The South African Working Group was the most active.
Volkswagen Group of America, VWOA, employs 6,000 employees as of 2022.
Today it is one of the national affiliates of VW Group seats on the VW Global Works Council.
In the 1980s, United Auto Workers represented the Volkswagen Westmoreland assembly plant before its closure in 1988.
The present-day Volkswagen Chattanooga assembly plant raised international headlines over high-profile union drives that were unsuccessful in 2014 and 2019.
In 2024, VW Chattanooga workers voted overwhelmingly to unionize with the United Auto Workers. Volkswagen of America, VWOA, opened its first production plant in Westmoreland County, Pennsylvania in 1976 and renamed the plant to Volkswagen Westmoreland Assembly after acquiring it from Chrysler.
VWOA immediately recognized the United Auto Workers via a card check.
For the assembly line, Volkswagen did not develop its own skill base for Westmoreland, instead bringing in workers from Detroit, Michigan.
100 workers were also brought in from Great Britain.
A pool of 40,000 people applied for jobs at Westmoreland.
No more than 20% of the workers had ever worked for an automobile manufacturer before.
The average age of workers was 24 to 26. At the time, this was considered a demographic that was independent and militant.
VWOA chose employees not by skills, but by how long they had been unemployed.
From the outset, minorities picketed the site, seeking fair treatment in the hiring process, and by its first 20 months of operation, workers had staged 6 walkouts.
In a 1992 New York Times article, the plant was described as the only transplant factory that UAW had succeeded in representing, and that the plant began with a strike and lurched from problem to problem before closing in 1988.
On October 13, 1978, 6 months after the plant opened, UAW workers staged a wildcat strike at Westmoreland for salaries equal to those received by General Motors employees.
Ticketing workers chanted, "No money, no money," in reference to the golf vehicle internally nicknamed the Rabbit.
In 1981, Westmoreland Assembly avoided a strike when it reached agreement with UAW over essentially the same issue, the disparity between wages earned at Westmoreland, where assemblers made an average of $10.76 per hour, and those at auto plants in Detroit, where General Motors and Ford assemblers made an average of $11.42 per hour. Volkswagen settled a 1983 discrimination suit with UAW to settle claims that they discriminated against black employees at Westmoreland Assembly.
Plaintiffs had sought $70 million when filing the lawsuit, charging that management had initiated or tolerated a pattern and practice of limited hiring and promotions of black people, that black workers were also subject to arbitrary firings and demotions, and that the company openly allowed racial insults and threats in the workplace.
3 days after the lawsuit was filed, a prominent black executive at the Westmoreland Assembly and spokesman for the VW Black Caucus committed suicide, bringing further notoriety to the lawsuit.
The presiding federal district judge said the case has turned into a media event.
VWOA denied the charges and later settled the case without admission of guilt in 1989, paying $800 plaintiffs $670,000 and the United Auto Workers $48,000.
On July 14, 1988, VWOA closed the plant.
The Volkswagen Chattanooga assembly plant attracted international attention in 2014 after it was proposed that employees elect the union in order to implement a works council that has co-determination, consultation and participation rights with management. United Auto Workers, UAW, attempted unsuccessfully to unionize the Chattanooga plant in 2014.
This was defeated in a 712-626 vote.
The unionization effort was backed by Volkswagen management and the IG Metal Union in Germany.
There was, however, considerable opposition from U.S. business groups and Republican politicians.
Despite a failed unionization vote at the plant, Volkswagen recognized members who have joined UAW Local 42.
After the close vote against UAW, Volkswagen announced a new policy allowing groups representing at least 15% of the workforce to participate in meetings, with higher access tiers for groups representing 30% and 45% of employees.
This prompted anti-UAW workers who opposed the first vote to form a rival union, the American Council of Employees.
In December 2014, UAW was certified as representing more than 45% of employees.
UAW again attempted to unionize the plant in June 2019.
This failed by 52 to 48% margin.
Unlike in 2014, Volkswagen management was not supportive of the union vote. In 2023, UAW won 30 to 160% salary increases at the Big Three.
Shortly after, UAW launched organizing drives at 13 non-union auto manufacturers in the South, including Volkswagen.
On 6 February 2024, UAW announced that over 50% of the 4,100 hourly workers at the plant have signed union membership cards.
On 19 April 2024, the plant's workers voted to unionize 73 to 27% margin, or 2,628 to 985.
The first collective bargaining meeting was scheduled for 19 September 2024. Volkswagen has always had a close relationship with Porsche, the Zuffenhausen-based sports car manufacturer founded in 1931 by Ferdinand Porsche, the original Volkswagen designer and Volkswagen Company co-founder. Hired by Adolf Hitler for the project.
The first Porsche car, the Porsche 64 of 1938, used many components from the Volkswagen Beetle.
The 1948 Porsche 356 continued using many Volkswagen components, including a tuned engine, gearbox and suspension. The two companies continued their collaboration in 1969 to make the VW Porsche 914 and Porsche 914-6.
The 914-6 had a 6-cylinder Porsche engine, and the standard 914 had a Volkswagen engine.
Volkswagen and Porsche would collaborate again in 1976 on the Porsche 912e, the USA only, and the Porsche 924, which used many Audi components and was built at Audi's Neckarsulm facilities.
The 924 was originally designated for Audi.
Most Porsche 944 models were built there, although they used far fewer VW components. The Porsche Cayenne, introduced in 2002, shares its entire chassis with a Volkswagen Touareg and Audi Q7 and is built at the same Volkswagen factory in Bratislava that the other SUVs are built. In September 2005, Porsche announced it would increase its 5% stake in Volkswagen to 20% at a cost of €3 billion, with the intention that the combined stakes of Porsche and the government of Lower Saxony would ensure that any hostile takeover by foreign investors would be impossible.
Speculated suitors included Daimler Chrysler, BMW, and Renault.
In July 2006, Porsche increased their ownership again to 25.1%. On 4 March 2005, the European Commission brought an action against the Federal Republic of Germany before the European Court of Justice, claiming that the Volkswagen law, which prevents any shareholder in Volkswagen from executing more than 20% of the total voting rights in the firm, was illegally restricting the flow of capital in Europe.
On 13 February 2007, Advocate General Tommaso Ruggerato Colombo submitted an opinion to the court in support of the action.
This again opened the possibility of a hostile takeover of VW, and so on 26 March of the same year Porsche took its holding of Volkswagen shares to 30.9%.
Porsche formally announced in a press statement that it did not intend to take over Volkswagen, but intended the move to avoid the competitors taking a large stake and to stop hedge funds from dismantling VW.
As expected, on 22 October 2007, the European Court of Justice ruled in agreement with Ruggerato and the law was struck down.
In October 2007, the European Court of Justice ruled that the VW law was illegal because it was protectionist.
At that time, Porsche held 31% of VW shares, although a smaller proportion of voting rights due to the Volkswagen law, and there had been speculation that Porsche would be interested in taking over VW if the law did not stand in its way.
The court also prevented the government from appointing Volkswagen board members.
The German government then rewrote the Volkswagen law, only to be sued again.
In October 2013, the EU Court of Justice in Luxembourg ruled that the rewritten Volkswagen law complied in full with EU rules.
On 26 October 2008, Porsche revealed its plan to assume control of VW.
As of that day, it held 42.6% of Volkswagen's ordinary shares and stock options on another 31.5%.
Combined with the state of Lower Saxony's 20.1% stake, this left only 5.8% of shares on the market, mostly with index funds that could not legally sell.
Hedge funds desperate to cover their short positions forced Volkswagen stock above €1,000 per share, briefly making it the world's largest company by market capitalization on 28 October 2008.
By January 2009, Porsche had a 50.76% holding in Volkswagen AG, although the Volkswagen law prevented it from taking control of the company. On 6 May 2009, the two companies decided to join in a merger. On 13 August, Volkswagen Aktiengesellschaft Supervisory Board signed the agreement to create an integrated automotive group with Porsche led by Volkswagen.
The initial decision was for Volkswagen to take a 42.0% stake in Porsche AG by the end of 2009. And it would also see the family shareholders selling the automobile trading business of Porsche Holding Salzburg to Volkswagen.
In October 2009, however, Volkswagen announced that its percentage in Porsche would be 49.9% for a cost of 3.9 billion euros. The 42.0% deal would have cost 3.3 billion euros.
On 1 March 2011, Volkswagen has finalized the purchase of Porsche Holding Salzburg, PHS, Austria's leading specialty automobile distributor, for 3.3 billion euros, $4.55 billion.
In January 2020, Volkswagen was overtaken by Tesla, incorporated as the second most valuable automaker. After 24 February 2022, as a result of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine and in line with sanctions against Russia, Volkswagen, after BMW and Mercedes, ceased production at its subsidiaries in Russia, the plants in Kaluga and Nizhny Novgorod.
It also terminated all dealership agreements with Russian partners, sold all its shares, and stopped exporting models of its subsidiary Porsche to Russia.
Volkswagen has an agreement with Art Finance LLC, the financial partner of a local villain dealer, which provides for the transfer of all local VW subsidiaries to the new investor. In March 2023, the Russian court froze all Volkswagen's assets in Russia at the suit of a local automaker Gaz. The Volkswagen brand produces various models, which consists of global products and regional products, specifically for large markets including Europe, China and Latin America.
Volkswagen AG annual report in 2022 reported that the best-selling model under the Volkswagen brand globally was the Tiguan, followed by the B-segment range of Polo, Virtus, Nivus and Tego, and Passat/Magetan.
Volkswagen has been one of the leading manufacturers in terms of hatchback production, which traditionally has been a popular segment in Europe.
The brand offered a range of hatchbacks from A segment, B segment, and C segment.
The Golf traditionally has been the strongest selling vehicle for the brand in Europe, followed by the smaller Polo, which apart from the European market also has a stronghold in emerging markets.
Sales for the hatchback category has slowed down due to the rise of the SUV segment.
The brand introduced its first crossover SUV in 2002, starting from the Touareg, a full-size luxury SUV.
The brand SUV expansion continues with the release of Tiguan, a C-segment Main Street SUV, in 2007.
In the mid-2010s, the company decided to produce an SUV in every class of car that can justify one, which the brand called the SUV offensive.
Between 2017 and 2020, the brand has aggressively expanded its SUV lineup by growing its number of models from 2 to 8 models, excluding its derivatives, ranging from B segment, C segment, and D segment SUVs, which include global models and regional models.
Volkswagen also started producing derivatives of its SUV models with a rear-sloping roof, marketed as Coupe SUV, which had gained popularity in China, the largest single market for the brand. In 2019, every fourth vehicle delivered by the Volkswagen brand today is an SUV, with its top contributor being the Tiguan.
The brand plans to have over 30 SUV models on offer worldwide by 2025, contributing 50% of its global sales.
Volkswagen also expects SUVs to lead the ID family, its future electric vehicle range of models. The SUV expansion has claimed casualties in the MPV segment, which saw the share of mid-size MPV being phased out in 2020. Until 2022, Volkswagen was a market leader in China, the largest single automotive market in the world.
In 2019, 3.16 million Volkswagen branded vehicles were delivered in the country.
The importance of the market has justified a significant amount of China-specific models. Sedans are a favorite segment in China due to their spacious interiors and boot space.
In 2019, the brand sold 1.6 million of them in China.
In the compact notchback or sedan segment, the brand is represented by several China-only models, which include the Sagittar, Lomando, Aura, Santana, Levita, and its derivatives in other body styles. While the mid-size sedan segment is represented by the Passat and Magaton.
Whoa!
The Levita was the best-selling model in China of all manufacturers in 2019, with 491,000 units sold.
The popularity of SUVs also gave birth to several SUV models built or reworked specifically for China, including the Theru, Terran, Terran X, Tiguan X, and reworked versions of the T-Cross and T-Roc.
The brand also has a strong presence in the premium or luxury segment, including the Fidian and Villaren as the models developed specifically for China.
On 26 July 2023, Volkswagen announced its investment of $700 million in Chinese EV maker XPeng for purchasing 4.99% stake of the company.
The VW will collaborate with XPeng to develop two VW brand electric models for the mid-size segment in the Chinese market in 2026.
The brand has a notable history in Brazil.
Volkswagen's relationship with Brazil dates back to the early 1950s.
In 1956, Volkswagen began by building a plant in São Bernardo do Campo, near São Paulo, as its first manufacturing plant outside Germany as a response to the Brazil's ban on the import of completely assembled vehicles in 1950.
1 year later, the plant started to produce the Combi model, 370 cars at that time, with a 50% local content component share.
Of 81 million vehicles produced over 6 decades in Brazil, 23 million of it was built by Volkswagen, which was produced by 4 passenger car factories in the country.
In 2018, Volkswagen accounted for close on 15% of the Brazilian car market.
The importance of the Brazilian market gave birth to several models, developed and manufactured by Volkswagen do Brasil, which include the Fox, Gol, Nivus, Severo, Virtus and Voyage.
These models are also typically exported throughout Latin America.
Historical vehicles built for the market include the Brasilia ST1 and ST2, 1500/variant/variant 2, Carmen DTC, Parati and Schuren.
The Gol, first launched in 1980, was the best-selling car in the country for 27 consecutive years, up until 2013.
Volkswagen do Brasil produced and sold pure ethanol-powered E100 only vehicles in Brazil, and production was discontinued only after they were supplanted by more modern flex-fuel technology.
As a response to the 1973 oil crisis, the Brazilian government began promoting bioethanol as a fuel and the National Alcohol Program. Pro-Álcool, Portuguese, Programa Nacional do Álcool, was launched in 1975.
Compelled by the 1979 energy crisis, and after development and testing with government fleets by the CTA at São José dos Campos, and further testing of several prototypes, developed by the 4 local car makers, including Volkswagen do Brasil, pure ethanol vehicles were launched in the Brazilian market.
Petrol engines were modified to support hydrocephalon characteristics, and changes included compression ratio, amount of fuel injected, replacement of materials that would get corroded by contact with ethanol. Use of colder spark plugs suitable for dissipating heat due to higher flame temperatures, and an auxiliary cold start system that injects petrol from a small tank in the engine compartment to help starting when cold.
Within 6 years, around 75% of all Brazilian passenger cars were manufactured with ethanol engines. Production and sales of pure ethanol vehicles tumbled beginning in 1987 owing to several factors, including a sharp decline in petrol prices as a result of the 1980s oil glut, and high sugar prices in the world market, shifting sugarcane ethanol production from fuel to sugar.
By mid-1989, a shortage of ethanol fuel supply in the local market left thousands of vehicles in line at petrol stations or out of fuel in their garages, forcing consumers to abandon ethanol vehicles.
The 2003 VW Gol 1.6 Total Flex was the first full flexible fuel vehicle launched in Brazil, capable of running on any blend of petrol and E100.
In March of that year, on its 50th anniversary, Volkswagen Group launched in the local market the Gol 1.6 Total Flex. The first Brazilian commercial flexible fuel vehicle capable of running on any mix of E20, E25 petrol and up to 100% hydrocephalon fuel, E100.
After the pure ethanol fiasco, consumer confidence in ethanol-powered vehicles was restored, allowing the rapid adoption of the flex technology.
This was facilitated by the fuel distribution infrastructure already in place throughout Brazil, with more than 30,000 fueling stations, a heritage of the pro-alcohol program.
Owing to the success and rapid consumer acceptance of the flex fuel versions, by 2005 VW had sold 293,523 flex fuel cars and light-duty trucks, and only 53,074 petrol-only automobiles, jumping to 525,838 flex fuel vehicles and only 13,572 petrol-only cars and 248 petrol-only light trucks. In 2007, and reaching new car sales of 564,959 flex fuel vehicles in 2008, representing 96% of all new cars and light-duty trucks sold in that year.
VW in Brazil stopped manufacturing petrol-only vehicles models for the local market in 2006, and all of the remaining petrol-only Volkswagen models sold in Brazil are imported.
The flex fuel models currently produced for the local market are the Gol, Fox, Cross Fox, Ferrari, Polo Hatch, Polo Sedan, Severo, Golf, and Combi.
By March 2009, Volkswagen do Brazil had attained the milestone mark of 2 million flex fuel vehicles produced since 2003.
Volkswagen and Sanyo have teamed up to develop a battery system for hybrid cars.
Volkswagen head Martin Winterkorn has confirmed the company plans to build compact hybrid electric vehicles.
He has stated that there will definitely be compact hybrid models, such as Polo and Golf, and without any great delay, with petrol and diesel power.
For example, the Golf is the ideal model to go hybrid, as the Golf 1.4 TSI was recently awarded the Auto Environment Certificate by the Oco Trend Institute for Environmental Research, and was considered one of the most environmentally friendly vehicles of 2007.
Also underway at Volkswagen's Braunschweig R&D facilities in northern Germany is a hybrid version of the next-generation Touareg. VW intends all future models to have a hybrid option.
Future VW models will fundamentally also be constructed with hybrid concepts. VW head of development Ulrich Hackenberg told Automotive in an interview.
Hackenberg mentioned that the car, based on the concept seen at Frankfurt Motor Show, as well as all future models, could be offered with either full or partial hybrid options.
The rear engine, up, will go into production in 2011.
Nothing has been said about plug-in hybrid options. Volkswagen announced at the 2010 Geneva Motor Show the launch of the 2012 Touareg hybrid scheduled for 2011.
VW also announced plans to introduce diesel-electric hybrid versions of its most popular models in 2012, beginning with a new Jetta, followed by the Golf hybrid in 2013 together with hybrid versions of the Passat.
In 2012, the Volkswagen Jetta hybrid set the world record to become the fastest hybrid car at 187 miles per hour, 301 kilometers per hour. In November 2009, Volkswagen announced it has hired Carl Thomas Newman as its group chief officer for electric traction.
VW's chief of research, Jurgen Leopold, said in 2010 the company has concluded hydrogen fuel cell cars are not a viable option.
As of May 2016, the Volkswagen Group offers retail customers 9 plug-in electric cars, of which 3 are all-electric cars. The Volkswagen, Beetle and Audi R8 e-tron, and 6 are plug-in hybrids. The Volkswagen Golf GTE, Passat GTE, Audi A3 Sportback e-tron, Q7 e-tron Quattro, Porsche Panamera SE Hybrid and Cayenne SE Hybrid.
Also, 2 limited production plug-in hybrids were manufactured beginning in 2013, the Volkswagen XL1, 250 units, and the Porsche 918 Spider, 918 units.
Total cumulative sales of all Volkswagen brand electrified cars since the start of their respective production is expected to reach about 103,000 by the end of 2016.
The Volkswagen ID.4 was launched in the US in September 2020.
In order to comply with increasingly strict carbon dioxide emission limits in major markets, the VW Group expects to sell about 1 million all-electric and plug-in hybrid vehicles a year worldwide by 2025.
The group plans to expand its plug-in range with 20 new pure electric and plug-in hybrid cars, including 2 cars to compete with Tesla Incorporated, the Porsche e all-electric car, and the Audi e-tron Quattro, which is expected to become the brand's first mass-production electric vehicle.
According to Thomas Ulrich, VW brand production chief, the car maker has the capacity to build as many as 75,000 battery electric and plug-in hybrids a year if demand rises.
Volkswagen announced in October 2015 that it will develop a modular architecture for battery electric cars, called the MEB. The standardized system will be designed for all body structures and vehicle types and will allow the company to build emotionally appealing EVs with a range of up to 310 miles, 500 kilometers.
In June 2016, VW launched a program to develop 30 all-electric cars in 10 years and sell 2 to 3 million electric cars per year by 2025.
Due to lower manpower requirements for electric motors than for piston engines, VW expects a gradual workforce reduction as the number of electric cars increase.
VW considers battery factory ownership as too expensive. In February 2021, Volkswagen issued a statement that vertical mobility could be the next step after self-driving technology.
It announced that the company is exploring the feasibility of flying vehicles in China.
Volkswagen, the core brand of Volkswagen Group, produces various models since its inception, ranging from passenger vehicles and commercial vehicles.
It also consists of global products and regional products, specifically for large markets including Europe, China, and Latin America.
Volkswagen AG annual report in 2022 reported that the best-selling model under the Volkswagen brand globally was the Tiguan, followed by the B-segment range of Polo, Virtus, Nivus and Tego, and Passat/Megaton. List of former models. Air-cooled models. Volkswagen 181, 1961 to 1983, also sold as Wagen, Checker, Finn, Safari.
Volkswagen 411/412, Type 4, 1967 to 1973.
Volkswagen 1500/1600, Type 3, 1961 to 1973.
Volkswagen Beetle, Type 1, 1938 to 2003.
Volkswagen Brasilia, 1973 to 1982.
Volkswagen Country Buggy, 1967 to 1969.
Volkswagen Diesel, 1983 to 1991.
Volkswagen Hebler Cabriolet, 1949 to 1953.
Volkswagen Carmandia, 1955 to 1974, also sold as Type 34 Carmandia, 1500 Carmandia Coupe.
Volkswagen Kommandeurswagen, 1941 to 1944, staff car for Wehrmacht.
Volkswagen TaBNWNE, 1940 to 1945, light military vehicle.
Volkswagen Schwimmwagen, 1942 to 1944.
Volkswagen Senda, 1991 to 1994.
Volkswagen ST1/ST2, 1973 to 1976.
Volkswagen Type 18A, 1949 to unknown.
Volkswagen Type 147 Kleinlieferwagen, 1964 to 1974.
And Volkswagen Porsche 914, 1969 to 1976, also sold as Porsche 914. Water-cooled models. Volkswagen Ameo, 2016 to 2020.
Volkswagen Apollo, 1990 to 1992.
Volkswagen Atlantic, 1981 to 1984.
Volkswagen Beetle, 2011 to 2019.
Volkswagen C-Trek, 2016 to 2018.
Volkswagen Cabrio, 1979 to 2002.
Volkswagen Cabriolet, 1979 to 2002.
Volkswagen Touareg, 1987 to 1991.
Volkswagen Cherub, 1977 to 1987.
Volkswagen CD Golf, 1984 to 2009.
Volkswagen Classico, 2010 to 2014.
Volkswagen Corrado, 1988 to 1995.
Volkswagen Corsair, 1984 to 1988.
Volkswagen Disher, 1974 to 1982.
Volkswagen Gertie, 1977 to 1985, 1995 to 2009, also sold as Polo Classic.
Volkswagen Eos, 2006 to 2016.
Volkswagen Fox, 2003 to 2021.
Volkswagen Gull, 1980 to 2023.
Volkswagen Golf Plus, 2004 to 2014.
Volkswagen Golf Sports Van, 2014 to 2020.
Volkswagen Altis, 1978 to 1988.
Volkswagen Jetta Team, 1997 to 2010.
Volkswagen Jetta Pioneer, 2010 to 2013.
Volkswagen K70, 1968 to 1972.
Volkswagen Lotus, 1993 to 1997.
Volkswagen Lupo, 1998 to 2005.
Volkswagen New Beetle, 1997 to 2011.
Volkswagen New Jetta, 2013 to 2020.
Volkswagen Ferrari, 1982 to 2013.
Volkswagen Passat NMS, 2011 to 2022.
Volkswagen Passat Lakeview, 2005 to 2011.
Volkswagen Phaeton, 2002 to 2016.
Volkswagen Fidian, 2016 to 2023.
Volkswagen Pointer, 1994 to 1996.
Volkswagen Polo Playa, 1996 to 2006.
Volkswagen Polo, Russia, 2020 to 2022.
Volkswagen Quantum, 1982 to 1988.
Volkswagen Rapid, 1975 to 1984.
Volkswagen Routan, 2008 to 2014.
Volkswagen Scirocco, 1974 to 2017.
Volkswagen Sharon, 1995 to 2022.
Volkswagen Space Cross, 2014 to 2019.
Volkswagen Santana, 1981 to 2022.
Volkswagen Touran/Space Fox, 2006 to 2019.
Volkswagen Taro, 1989 to 1997.
Volkswagen Tiguan All-Space, 2018 to 2024.
Volkswagen Vento/Polo Sedan, 2010 to 2022.
Volkswagen Voyage, 1983 to 2023.
Volkswagen Up, 2011 to 2023.
And Volkswagen XL1, 2015 to 2016.
Volkswagen was named the fourth most influential car of the 20th century in the 1999 Car of the Century competition for its Volkswagen Type 1 Beetle model.
It trailed only the Ford Model T, the MC Mini, and Citroën DS.
Volkswagen has produced 4 winners of the 60-year-old European Car of the Year award. 1992 Volkswagen Golf.
2010 Volkswagen Polo.
2015 Volkswagen Golf.
And 2015 Volkswagen Passat.
Volkswagen has produced 5 winners of the United States Motor Trend Car of the Year award, the original Car of the Year designation, which began in 1949. 1985 Volkswagen GTI.
1999 Volkswagen New Beetle Import Volkswagen Group.
2004 Volkswagen Touareg Sport Utility Vehicle Volkswagen Group.
2012 Volkswagen Passat.
And 2015 Volkswagen Golf lineup. Volkswagen has already produced 5 winners of the recently developed World Car of the Year award. 2009 Volkswagen Golf.
2010 Volkswagen Polo.
2012 Volkswagen Up.
2013 Volkswagen Golf.
And 2021 Volkswagen ID.4. In 1963, Formula V circuit racing, with cars built from easily available Beetle parts, started in the United States.
It quickly spread to Europe and other parts of the world.
It proved very popular as a low-cost route into Formula racing.
In 1971, Volkswagen of America started the more powerful Formula Super V, which became famous for housing new talent.
In the 11 years it ran, until 1982, it produced a stable of world-famous Formula One drivers, names like Niki Lauda, Jochen Mass, Nelson Piquet, Jochen Rindt and Keke Rosberg.
Volkswagen also notched up several victories and the championship in Formula 3.
In July 2011, Wolfgang told German magazine Auto, Motor and Sport that, if the VW Group is at the forefront of the auto industry, I can imagine us competing in Formula 1 in 2018. We have enough brands to pull it off.
They did not compete in F1 in 2018.
In 1981, now based in Hanover, VW took a new direction into rallying with the launch of the first generation Golf, Sweden's Per Eklund, Frenchman Jean-Luc Ferrier, and the Finn Air Cala.
The final chapters in Volkswagen Racing UK's rallying story were the one-make Castrol Polo Challenge and the Polo GTI Super 1600 in 2001.
Volkswagen Motorsport won the World Rally Championship with Sebastian Ogier and co-driver Julian Ingrassia 4 consecutive years, 2013 to 2016, in the Volkswagen Polo RWRC. In 1980, Volkswagen competed with the Audi-developed Iltis, placing 1st, 2nd, 4th and 9th overall.
In 2003, the Hanover-based team entered with a 2WD buggy named Tarek, finishing 6th overall and 1st in the 2WD and diesel class.
In 2005, an updated race Touareg with slightly more power entered, with driver Bruno Segui finishing 3rd overall and 1st in the diesel class.
In 2006, the revised race Touareg entered, with driver Emile de Villiers finishing 2nd overall and 1st in the diesel class.
Volkswagen won the 2009, 2010 and 2011 Dakar Rally, held in South America. Europe. In 1998, the company founded the ADAC Volkswagen Lupo Cup, renamed Polo Cup, in 2003 and Volkswagen Scirocco R Cup from 2010 to 2014, and started the ADAC New Beetle Cup in 2000.
In 2004, Volkswagen Commercial Vehicles entered the European Truck Racing Series with a Volkswagen Titan truck. It became a back-to-back champion for the 2004 and 2005 series.
United States, in 1976, Volkswagen entered the under 2000cc Trans Am series with a Scirocco, and they won their class outright.
Beginning in 2008, Volkswagen introduced the Jetta TDI Cup.
The Jetta TDI Cup is an SCCA sanctioned race series that features 25 drivers between the ages of 16 and 26 driving slightly modified 2009 Jetta TDI''S.
The series features 10 events at 8 different road courses across North America.
There is $50,000 prize money at stake over the course of the series, in addition to the $100,000 prize awarded to the champion of the series at the conclusion of the last race.
Argentina, many Volkswagen models have competed in TC2000, including the 1980 to 1983 champion Volkswagen 1500 and the 1994 champion Volkswagen Gol.
In 1999 and 2000, VW won the F2 Australian Rally Championship with a Golf GTI.
Finland, in 2002, VW won the Finnish Rally Championship in A7/F2 with a Golf MK4 kit car with Mikko Hirvonen.
In 1999 and 2000, VW won the Finnish Rally Championship in A7/F2 with a Golf MK3 kit car.
In 2000, 2001 and 2002, VW won the Finnish Racing Championship in Sport 2000 with a Golf MK4.
Austria, from 1967 until 1974, the Austrian sole distributor Porsche Salzburg entered the VW Beetle 1500, 1302s and 1303s in Europe-wide rallies.
Whoa!
Victories were achieved in 1972 and 1973 in the overall Austrian Championship, on Elba in the Acropolis Rally, first in class.
Top drivers were Tony Fall, GP, Jim Warnveld, D, Gunter Janger, A, Harry Kallstrom, S. The Volkswagen Motorsport was a works rally team of the German car manufacturer Volkswagen, who competed in the World Rally Championship, WRC, and Dakar Rally. The team started competing in WRC in 1978 and used different specs of Volkswagen Golfs before leaving the sport in 1990.
Volkswagen competed at the Dakar Rally from 2003 to 2011, claiming 3 overall wins.
The team made its WRC comeback in 2011 Rally Finland with a pair of Skoda Fabia S2000s and competed with a Volkswagen Polo RWRC. From the start of the 2015 World Rally Championship season to the end of the 2016 World Rally Championship season. At the end of the 2016 season, Volkswagen Motorsport decided to withdraw from the FIA World Rally Championship. In 2003, Volkswagen entered the Touareg 2WD Buggy at the Dakar Rally, with Stefan Henrik placing 6th outright.
The Race Touareg 1 was introduced in 2004 when Bruno Segui finished 6th.
In 2005, Judah Kleinschmidt finished in 3rd overall.
With Race Touareg 2, Kenny de Villiers finished in 2nd place overall in 2006.
In 2007, Mark Miller finished 4th overall.
Volkswagen won the 2009, 2010 and 2011 Dakar Rally, the latter with Race Touareg 3 with drivers de Villiers, Carlos Sainz and Nasser Al-Attiyah.
In 2011, Volkswagen competed with 7 different drivers in 4 rallies: Rally Finland, Rally Deutschland, Rally Catalonia and Wales Rally GP.
German Christian Riedemann was the only driver competing in 2 rallies.
In November 2011, the team revealed they have made a multi-year contract with a French rally star Sébastien Ogier and his co-driver Julien Ingrescia. For 2012 season, Volkswagen Motorsport continued developing their Polo R World Rally car, and they also completed a full WRC campaign, except New Zealand, with a pair of Skoda Fabias.
Sébastien Ogier drove it in every round of the campaign, while the second car was shared between Andreas Mikkelsen and Kevin Andring.
The team had a third car in their home rally Germany, driven by Sepp Wiegand. The season included some highlights, including Sébastien Ogier's unexpected special stage win in Sardinia.
Ogier's 5th place in Sardinia also remains the best ever overall finish for a S2000 car in World Rally Championship.
Also important to mention that Mikkelsen was the first ever S2000 driver to score power stage points, which he did during 2012 Rally Deutschland by finishing 3rd on the penultimate stage. In October, Volkswagen Motorsport announced that they have signed Jari-Matti Latvala with his co-driver Mika Antila to join Ogier and Ingrescia to drive Volkswagen Polo RWRC for 2013 season. Volkswagen Motorsport entered as a fully fledged manufacturer team in 2015.
Sébastien Ogier and Jari-Matti Latvala started the season, whilst Andreas Mikkelsen joined the championship at the 4th round in Portugal.
Mikkelsen and his new co-driver Mikko Marttila were registered under a second manufacturer team, known as Volkswagen Motorsport 2, so as to give them as much time as possible testing the Polo RWRC. The 2013 season started with Rally Monte Carlo.
Volkswagen entered the rally with 2 cars, Latvala/Antila and Ogier/Ingrescia.
Ogier started their campaign with a dream start by winning the very first stage of the season and the first of Volkswagen Polo RWRC.
Ogier won one more stage and finished the rally in 2nd place, nearly 2 minutes behind the winner Sébastien Loeb.
Jari-Matti Latvala's rally ended in last evening of the rally when he hit the wall in slippery conditions. The team took its first WRC victory in their 2nd rally with a World Rally car when Sébastien Ogier dominated the Rally Sweden, being fastest in half of the stages of the rally.
Jari-Matti Latvala finished 4th and also scored his first stage win with a team.
Ogier continued his dominance at the next event in Rally Mexico, giving the team its 2nd victory in a row.
Ogier won 16 out of 23 stages and lead the rally from the 2nd stage till the finish.
Latvala hit a rock in SS2 and after restarting in day 2 he eventually finished outside of the points.
That meant Volkswagen was still 6 points behind Citroën in manufacturer standings before moving on to Rally to Portugal.
2016 would turn out to be another successful year for the team as they collected their 4th consecutive Manufacturers' Championship, and Sébastien Ogier claimed his 4th consecutive Drivers' Championship. Just days after the 2016 Wales Rally GP, Volkswagen announced that they would be pulling out of the WRC at the end of the 2016 season.
This came as a surprise to many fans and journalists, as the team and their drivers had already been conducting major development and testing work on the new 2017 Polo. Based on the new generation WRC cars.
Although no direct reason was given for the team's withdrawal, it was widely speculated to be a result of Volkswagen's recent emission scandal. Volkswagen Motorsport made a return to the World Rally Championship with an R5 version of the Volkswagen Polo GTI.
The car made its debut at the 2018 Rally Catalunya with entries for both Peter Solberg and Eric Camilli.
In November 2019, Volkswagen announced that, consistent with its shift in focus to emphasize the manufacturing of electric vehicles, it would end all motorsport programs that do not involve electric vehicles. Literatures. Jonas Kiefer, VW Type Medalist, Surian Fabershish. 2. Authors. Elias Placing, Bielefeld 2002, ISBN 3-7688-1271-5.
Rudy Hep, VW Personenwagen. Hodgson, Brillen 2001, ISBN 3-86133-209-4.
Howard Schrader, VW Personenwagen Site 1945, Band 1, Type Compass. Motorrad Verlag, Stuttgart 2001, ISBN 3-613-02105-6.
Howard Schrader, VW Personenwagen Site 1945, Van 2, Type Compass. Motorrad Verlag, Stuttgart 2001, ISBN 3-613-02186-2.
Werner Oswald, Deutsche Autos, Van 2, 1920 to 1945. 2. Authors. Motorrad Verlag, Stuttgart 2005, ISBN 3-613-02170-6.
And Werner Oswald, Deutsche Autos, Van 3, 1945 to 1990, Ford, Opel and Volkswagen. 1. Authors. Motorrad Verlag, Stuttgart 2001, ISBN 3-613-02116-1.
Volkswagen is the owner of the Bundesliga club Wolfsburg. That's it for this episode today. Thank you for watching, and this is the last episode of the 2024.
But we will return to this series after the holiday break, which is January 25, 2025, and we are also wishing Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you and families.
Anyways, be sure to subscribe this channel, turn on post notifications for more upcoming episodes like this one, and we'll see you in 2025. Happy holidays from TaBNWNE.